had the spinners.
I had the spinners. I'm trying to be the passenger princess.
I'm telling my age up in here.
All you do is scream at people on the internet about having credit cards.
Wow.
I have a lot of places that I'm trying to go with you today. I am not the person who is telling people to cap their spending.
I don't do just a cap on just dating.
I literally lost everything when I made more money than I had ever made before at that time.
I want you to delay your gratification so that you can build your foundation on a solid rock.
People will give you advice based on what they wish.
Donnie.
Welcome to another episode of Full Transparency with Donnie Wiggins, where I sit down with entrepreneurs who are doing outstanding things and I give you a fly on the wall perspective. This is like if I were going out to lunch with one of my friends, somebody that I just met. What would that conversation look like if I was going out to lunch? And let me tell y'all something. I've been out to lunch with this guest right here, and our conversations get real live, real fast, all right? So I am super excited to introduce to you the host of The Table with Anthony O'Neill, financial expert, author, speaker, sought-after superstar. I know he's going to be mad about this introduction, but what's up, Ayo?
Donnie, we talked about this, my friend.
We for sure talked about this.
I'm not a financial expert. I'm a student.
You are a student.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell me what that means to you.
I mean, I don't think I have enough game in the financial industry to say I'm an expert, because to the day I die, I'm a student. You know what I'm saying? So as I'm learning, I'm teaching. As I'm learning, I'm teaching. As I'm learning, I'm teaching. I think expert has gotten there, right? So a lot of my mentors don't call themselves experts. They call themselves students. And then they may be real good students, A students. I think I'm a B student in the financial world. I still got a lot to learn. So, but you know, it is what it is.
So could I have introduced you as a financial educator?
You could have just said your friend, good friend. We've had lunch, great time, doing great things. Because I am doing great things.
You are.
Ayo, that's it.
Ayo. All right, you guys. So my homie is here. My homie is here. Anthony is over here on the couch with me.
Yo.
You know, I'm always super fascinated with people who choose the journey of financial education, financial management, financial wealth teaching, whatever you want to call it, because especially in our community, it's a conversation that people are so uncomfortable with.
Facts.
Did you grow up in a house where like your parents made it a priority to educate you financially, or how did your interest even start here?
Nah, I didn't, Donnie. And you know, if I'm being fully transparent, we never had a conversation about money. My dad, my other father. So I have two fathers and two mothers.
Okay.
So biological father, biological mother, stepfather, stepmother.
Okay.
Right. So my stepfather will always say, do this, but I never saw them do this. You know what I'm saying? So it's for me, I never saw my parents win financially. I never saw them. I remember one time it was me, my mom, and my stepdad just moved to California. I think maybe I was 1 or 2, my mom said. But you know how younger kids, you have a daughter, we may not remember things per se, but we remember images.
Yeah.
And I remember this one time in this apartment. It wasn't even a 1-bedroom apartment. It was a loft to where our living room, our couch became our bed. And our kitchen table was right next to the bed. And I remember asking my mom, I saw her crying at the table with a whole bunch of paper on it. And I remember asking my mom when I got older, why were you crying at the table? I had this image in my head. She's like, because I was crying because we didn't have the money to pay the bills. Those pieces of paper were bills. And so the reason why I got into the financial space was because I didn't want my kids, if I'm ever blessed to have kids, if I ever have kids down the road, I don't want them to have that image. I don't want my nephews and my niece to have that image. I don't want my wife to be crying at the table over bills. I want her crying at the table because she misses me, not because of the bills.
Okay, talk sexy. Here we go. Already. here you go. Already. You always
cry because you miss me.
You know
not
what
the
I mean?
bills.
You know, when you talk about seeing your mom at this table, that's almost in that scene is in almost every Black film.
Absolutely.
That's in the neighborhood where the family is struggling. There's always mom sitting at the table with a stack full of bills crying. And, you know how some movies are based just on total imagination and these things hadn't happened? Like, this is a real thing. Are you ever triggered? Like, when you see movies, does it take you back to that moment where, like, man, this is real? This is not
often
scripted.
Often. And I have a lot of white friends, and they'll laugh at this stuff, and then they'll come back, hey, man, I saw this. I said, man, listen, while it is funny in the movie, but that's real life.
Yeah.
You know, I saw my mom stressed. I saw my mom have to get up and get 3 jobs, 3, Donnie, not even exaggerating, just so her kids could have a Christmas. Yeah. I remember going to my friend's house, me and my 2 other siblings, and we're excited because we got some new jeans and we got a boom box back in the days that all 3 of us could share. For Christmas, we'll go over to their house. They got PlayStations, they got toys, they got this, they got that. And we were crying because we got some jeans and 1 boombox. And my mom came back home and cried. And she said, this is not going to happen again. My kids will have a good Christmas. And so from October to December 13th, we don't see our mom because she would get off her full-time job, go to Kmart back then and work a job. And on Kmart, on the weekend, she'd go work for the Christian Berean bookstore. And for 3 months, I saw my mom work her butt off just to make sure we had a decent Christmas. Not an amazing Christmas, but like at least we had at least 5 toys apiece rather than 1 and 1 we can all share.
That's insane. Let me ask you this, and I'm going to ask you a question that I know many people need the answer to. You grow up in this environment. You don't have a lot of money, right? But then you take interest in building wealth because of the circumstances that you grew up in. But Anthony, if I don't have anything, how do I ever get my start? Like, how do I get my head above water when I'm already operating in the negative?
Knowledge. You got to get the knowledge. I think for me, I didn't have the knowledge. And so I was living below water, like you said. My head was below water simply because I wasn't getting the correct knowledge. I wasn't getting the correct exposure. I think oftentimes we chase the money rather than chasing the wisdom and the knowledge. And so if you want to get above ground, you don't need more money. You need more wisdom and you need more knowledge. Because when the money comes, if you're below the water, you won't know how to really maneuver things because you've never done it before. So now in this season of my life and that season of my life, I just chase money. When I was living in the back of my car, I tell the story that my dad put me on a budget form, but I don't tell the story of when I got the budget form, I started reading books. That's when I read Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's when I read Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. That's when I read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I started exposing myself to different wisdom and knowledge that wasn't taught to me in my school and from my parents, and that's what helped me really get the money.
Any other time I would have said, knowledge, it sounds good, it sounds cliche. But I can absolutely relate to that. I literally lost everything when I made more money than I had ever made before at that time.
For real?
Absolutely. So I was a real estate agent out here in Atlanta. I was responsible for selling. At that time, we were doing condo conversions, converting apartments into condominium buildings.
Donnie, you never told me you did real estate.
I did real estate for years. I even did mortgages.
You did mortgages?
Yeah. I wasn't that interested in mortgages more than I was in real estate, but I was trying to make all the money. And all the money I was making, right? But then that recession hit around that 2009, 2010 period.
Yeah.
Anthony, at that time, I'm making multiple 6 figures. And within 6 months, I lost everything. Now, prior to that, I'd had jobs where I was making $50,000 a year, $70,000 a year. And I was doing very well. When I was making more money than I had ever made before at that time, that's when I was the most impoverished. I lost everything. Now, 2 years later, I would come across a mentor who said, you got to read books.
Gotcha.
Like, you have to do some personal development. There's things that, nobody ever wants to hear that the answer is in the book.
Facts.
How do you deal with that mindset? Because you have to penetrate that first before you can even get them to a place where they're ready to receive it.
You got to read the books. And this may sound so cliche, but for me, what I've learned is I just got to make the decision. Like, if I don't make the decision to do better, I'm never going to change. And so for me, I just had to, I looked at, and I hate saying it like this, but I don't know how else to say it. So mom and daddy, forgive me. I love you. But I couldn't look at my parents as an example on how to win financially. And so if I couldn't look at them on how to win, the church wasn't teaching me how to win because I'm a church boy at heart. I had to go somewhere else. When I'm looking at the streets, when I'm looking at my boys, Donnie, if we're being fully transparent, we were all driving Mercedes, BMWs, Range Rovers, borrowing money from each other.
No way.
Just to impress y'all ladies. So I'm like, wait, I can't learn from my mom and dad. The church is telling me to only tithe at that time. My boys, this is back in the early 2000s.
How old are you around this time?
I'm 19, 20 years old.
Okay.
I'm driving a Ford Explorer with 22-inch chrome wheels that kept spinning when you stop.
Not the spinners.
I had the spinners,
Not
Donnie.
the spinners.
I'm telling my age up in here, right? And so,
listen, if he had the spinners, I'm trying to be the passenger princess. You hear me?
I'm trying to tell you. And then not even that, we had not just the spinners, but I got 212s. Like, this generation don't know about the speakers in the back and the big old box.
The booming like we 808.
Exactly. We got all of that, but I ain't have $5 in the bank. And I'll be like, yo, bro, let me hold $10, man. I'm about to go over here to McDonald's, get me her something to eat. Bro. I loaned you $10 last week. Let me get 15 so I can take old girl. Like, I was like, okay, I can't learn from here. I can't learn from there. I can't learn from there. Where can I go? And I was like, I gotta go somewhere. And one of my friends who lived in Dallas, Texas said, yo, you need to read Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And when I read that book, it changed my life.
Hey, entrepreneur, are you looking for mentorship? Do you ever watch me here on the Social Proof podcast or on Full Transparency and say, you know what? One day I want to work with Donnie. Great news. You absolutely can. Join me inside my community, Actionable CEO, where we help to develop new habits, grow you personally, professionally, and financially, help you take massive action in your business, ultimately helping you make more money. It's just $97 a month. We meet every single week. We have a book club. We do live co-working sessions. When I'm in your city, you guys get to connect with me in person and so much more. Don't take my word for it. Go over to actionableceo.com. Check out the page and see if it's a good fit for you. If so, I'll see you on the inside.
And I said, this is where I want to go. And I started learning. But when I learned, the difference was I started applying what I learned. And I don't think people apply.
People don't apply. So people read. I know even when people come to me for advice about how to build their business, they're looking for okay, so you do this first, second, third, bam, you're making 6 figures, bam, you're making 7 figures. People, one, it's a hard struggle to get people to desire to read.
Facts.
And then you have to know how to read. You don't just open up a book and read words on a page, which is what most people do.
Facts.
You have to actually digest the information, but only the parts of it that's relevant. I am sure you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad more than one time.
Oh, I read it every year.
Yeah. And you get something different from it every single time.
Facts.
Did you grow up, once you were introduced to that, did you identify who your real life rich dad was?
No.
You don't have one? No? So you're reading the books. What then is the next step to say, okay, I got it. I'm about to start putting some things in practice?
Well, for me, during that time, I had to really identify the vision for where I wanted to go. And I also had to identify who do I align with. So I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but I honestly don't align with Robert Kiyosaki.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's
good to know.
That's just really good to know. I don't align with Robert Kiyosaki. And a lot of people who know me already know who I align myself with. And that's my friend Dave Ramsey. And so before I even met him, I'm already reading Robert Kiyosaki. I'm listening to his shows. And one thing I've learned when I looked at a lot of my successful, watch this, Donnie, not just successful rich people, but successful men who had healthy marriages, they had someone who they followed. So when I'm reading, I had to become a follower of something. Mentorship, whatever that was. Now when I'm following, I'm doing what I'm reading and I'm also doing what I'm following. That's when my whole life changed.
You would go on to work for Dave Ramsey.
I did. I worked with him for about 6.5, 7 years.
Was that like your first job in the financial industry?
Oh, so in the financial industry, yes.
What's your history, Anthony? What's the first?
You asking a lot right now.
I want to know. Like, tell me about it, because you are so mysterious. All you do is scream at people on the internet about having credit cards, right?
I do.
And spending too much money on dates, because I think you said one time that.
Wow. Wow, Donnie.
I have a lot of places that I'm trying to go with you today.
Okay,
all right?
Donnie.
We're going to get to the fact that you said you don't spend more than $100 on dates.
Wow.
Which I don't personally believe is true.
Wow. Okay. All right. Cool. Great.
You can go ahead and respond to that.
Which one do you want me to respond to first?
Since we're here.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Mm-hmm. I think my philosophy on that, when I speak to that nature, is my number has gone up to 150 on first dates. I do believe that people who make less than $99,999.99 should not spend no more than $100 on the first date. Mm-hmm. And the reason being is because I'm speaking to the brothers, and I'm not speaking to the women, is that I did a little personal study with myself and my financial advisor. And 1 year, Donnie, I spent a little over $12,000 just on dates.
Okay.
During that year, I think I dated maybe about 6 ladies. 6.
Okay.
None of them turned into anything. And so for me, it's not that I don't value a woman like yourself, but I'm very analytical. So that's $12,000 of my money. I averaged out how much each hour I make. When I did the math on that, that means I spent about 300 hours on a woman that did not return any investment into me other than knowledge of what I should and should not do, right? And I'm like, I could do that for much cheaper. And I think a lot of men, if they're out there spending $300 on every single date they go out on, I just don't think that's a good ROI for that brother, especially when we're seeing that marriages, the number one issue with marriages is right around the areas of finances. So if you can literally date a woman, figure out a way, because I'm not saying, Donnie, just because I'm absent of $150 or $100 on a date doesn't mean that you should feel the difference of that. Mm-hmm. There's a way that a man can make you feel like he spent $1,000 without even spending $25. Mm-hmm. So I'm very, very detailed when I'm dating now. Is I have a notepad. When I talk to you, I listen. I write down everything that I hear you talking about, and I'm gonna move that way. I think that if I can move with intentions, if I can move with clarity, and you stick around after that first date, Donnie, I'm gonna take you to a $200, $300 date. That's not a problem. Mm-hmm. But after the first date, Donnie, you know you've been on dates. You ever been on the first date and like, yeah, that ain't it, and you don't go back out?
Yeah, but it wasn't because of the. So here's the thing. First, how many names do you have in that journal right now?
Right now, in that journal right now,
yeah,
1. I'm gonna be honest.
Just one name.
Mm-hmm.
So you just started journaling?
No. You mean as far as in like...
How many names do you have written in that notebook of women that you're keeping up with, their likes, their dislikes?
1.
Just one name?
Yeah. Once I get done with, if it doesn't flourish anywhere, they're done. They're out of my journal. I don't keep it. I don't want to remember that.
Oh, so you get rid of the journal and you get a new journal.
For her.
Okay. So here's my thought on this. Mm-hmm. Have I gone on dates that... after the first date, I didn't want to go on a second date? Yes. But in all fairness, I would imagine that it's also because the two of us didn't do proper due diligence up front. I have gone on more dates where I was interested in a second date than not.
We'll say it one more time.
I have gone on more dates where I was interested in a second date with the person than not. I think that men, more than just choosing how much money they're going to cap a woman at on in terms of what kind of dating experience they're taking them on, I think that men should just do better due diligence up front, like spend more time talking, spend a couple of weeks talking. If you can get past a couple of weeks of talking to somebody on the phone without getting bored, without feeling antsy, including comfort, then that person might be worth whatever dating experience you desire, not one that's necessarily and automatically capped at a certain dollar amount.
That's a good woman response.
Is it a good woman response? I mean, I just think we do.
That's a good Donnie response, because for me, you know my philosophy, Donnie, every dollar that I spend has an assignment.
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm giving a woman a cap. Is that I'm setting boundaries and I'm setting a vision for my financial resources. So I don't do just a cap on just dating. I do a cap on me spending, me investing, me treating myself to nice things, my vacation. So I do believe that if you're going to be wise with your money, you got to have a certain level of stewardship and budgeting around your dating experience. Mind you, I'm only talking about the first date. Right? I'm not talking about the dating experience. There's not one woman who can say that her dating me, it was a frugal or a cheap experience. Not one. Not one.
Do you make this clear that you're only talking about the first date? Because
see, here's the
there's
thing,
a
though.
word on the street about you.
What's that?
Anthony is cheap.
But that's fine.
Anthony's only spending and
I love it.
For clarity.
I love it, Donnie.
You love it?
Yeah, because it keeps the wrong person outside of myself. I'm looking for alignment. I'm not looking for a woman that wants me to ball out on her.
Yeah. So for clarity, I actually hate this conversation, right?
Why?
I hate not our conversation.
Oh, I was about to say.
I hate the conversation around these standards that we have to have in place in terms of what we should be spending on a date and all the, like, I could have an amazing time with somebody who took me on a free walk, and I could have an amazing time with somebody who's taken me out to the top 5-star restaurant. So recently I'm dating, right? I'm in these streets because it's time for me to be intentional.
Let's go.
I have gone on dates where we just met for mocktails. Literally have gone on dates where I've met somebody for a mocktail, a nice cucumber refresher, and that date was no more than $30. Had an outstanding time.
I love it.
Right? But I also had an outstanding time with a person who dinner was literally $1,500. I had an equally outstanding time.
I'm sure you did.
And I didn't judge one wasn't better than the other because of the dollar amount that somebody spent. And I just think those conversations are just toxic.
I agree that the conversation is toxic. My philosophy on my approach to that is I have men come to me asking for advice on how to steward their money better. When I look at their budget, they spend it all on shoes, cars, and women. So I'm like, hey, if we can cut back on your dating experiences, your shoes, and your cars, we can have more money to invest. And for me, I just want to make sure that when I get married, I can give my wife things that no other woman has gotten from me. I can't give her my virginity. I can't even give her my first knee, but I can give her experiences that no other woman can say they experience.
You can't give her your first, did you say knee?
Yeah, I proposed before.
You've proposed before.
I've been engaged.
You've been engaged. Wow. I love that for you. What happened there?
I don't
You're not
love
married.
that for me.
Well, I mean, I love that you're intentional about commitment.
Oh, absolutely.
Why didn't you get married?
Great woman, phenomenal woman. She was a little over 14 years older than me at the time. So I think at the time I was like 29, 30. She was like 40 something. And I can't say the name who mentored us, 'cause I'm going to respect that. But he and his wife, late wife, said something to us that was very, very good. Anthony is coming to a mountain that he's ready to climb, that you've gotten off of, and you're not ready to reclimb. So we were just in two different seasons of our life. I was 29. I wanted kids at the time. I was 29, and I was a little spontaneous, put it there. She's coming off. She just raised 2 kids on her own, graduated high school, and they're going. She's not as spontaneous. And so she was like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want that. I don't want any more kids, because by the time I have kids, I'm 68 before I'm an empty nester. I don't want that. And so we just realized that we're 2 great people, but just in 2 different seasons. And it was hard because she was like, I want you, but it's up to you. And I got to say this, and I say it respectfully. I walked away from a great woman, which was the best thing for the both of us. And it was a hard decision in my life, but.
Has that been your biggest heartbreak to date?
No, I would say the biggest heartbreak to date was my very first love. Yeah. No, that one it was hard to do because I felt bad. Like I dated her for 4 years and I felt like I wasted her time. Right? It's like I never want to be that guy that is out here just wasting a woman's time. And honestly, to be honest, the reason why I did propose is because like, dang, I've been with you for 4 years. I could do another 40.
Lord Jesus Christ. What?
That's what because the church is like, well, I mean, you've been with her this long, you might as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, y'all all right, let me do it. But I think my greatest.
You'd be divorced already. You know that, right?
Facts.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And that would have hurt us even more to spend that much time and then separate. But I think my greatest regret was just started blowing up. Names started getting out there in the community. A lot of people don't know that I went from back of my car, working for a collection agency, selling cars into full-time ministry as a youth pastor. From a youth pastor going to one of the top 10 churches in the world, grew the largest urban African-American youth ministry in the United States of America. We had over like 5,000 kids coming through that time. And so when I'm transitioning, I had a young lady I was dating, the first woman that I was ever in love with. And when I got the job, my boy said, you don't bring sand to the beach. So I'm leaving Fayetteville, North Carolina, going to Jacksonville, Florida. And I had probably the most amazing lady. I'm 24. She shows up, Donnie, at my house, suitcase. It's raining. And she says, I'll move with you today. I'll quit my job, get my own apartment, and transfer out there. I closed the door on her and said no.
You closed the door in her face?
My boys were there. And I was young. I had the wrong men around me. I get to Jacksonville, Florida. I'm like, yo, I'm at the beach. I'm looking for the sand. And because I was so immature, man, I realized I had the wrong people in my ear. And by the time I went back to get her, she was married.
Wow.
And I was happy when I found out she was married, because I was like, she deserves that, because she did absolutely nothing wrong. I'm talking about, Donnie, it was a love to where when you ever been in this before, it was like when you know you did something wrong. Let's say it's not even like, let's say me and you were dating and I did something wrong to this person. She had my back, even though publicly she's like, that's my, nah, you ain't gonna talk about him, you ain't gonna do this. Like, she had my back publicly, but then in private, she'd be like, yo, babe, that was jacked up. But in public, nah, you ain't gonna talk about my boy like that. Nah. I mean, I ain't never had that to this day. A woman who is like, yo, I got your back.
Do you think it's karma?
I think it's definitely God, definitely for sure, teaching me my lesson, for sure.
Have you apologized to her, like dug deep?
We had one good conversation right before she was getting to that season of her life. And even my ex-fiance and I just last year talked, and we had clarity, because I walked away abruptly on that. And so I do believe how you end one season, it starts the next season. And I've always said to God, in this season of my life, if I end a season, I just want to end it right.
Yeah.
So that way I can walk into the next season well.
You know what I love about hearing this, because I didn't know this about you. We had a small conversation and talked about how sometimes when you're talking about relationships, I told Anthony that I want you to come on a relationship podcast that we're doing, right? And he said, nah, I think I'm out of that space, because you admitted that you hadn't had a successful relationship and you almost feel hypocritical. You don't feel qualified to talk about it. And I respect that. Now understanding the journey and where it's coming from, I respect that wholeheartedly. I also feel the same way, though, about some financial experts who are out and they're giving all this financial advice, what you should be doing with money. And, you know, what I know about what I know happens is that people will give you advice based on what they wish.
Donnie. Wow.
Right? Not necessarily based on their own experience or their own relationship, but it's based on what they wish.
Yeah.
If I had money to manage,
wow,
here's what I wish to do with it, right? What's your relationship like? What's your relationship with money? You're out here, you're giving everybody advice, and you're teaching financial discipline. What's your actual relationship with money? And taking that to the next level, what areas are you still falling short in when it comes to managing your own money?
That's a good question. I appreciate that. Wow. Hold on. Donnie, in the 10 years of me doing this, no one's ever asked me what's my short with money. That's good, Donnie. I like that. So we really are on full transparency.
I mean, I want to know, like here, I want to know what you're struggling with. I want to know what your challenges are, but you're not perfect. You're good. You're great.
Yeah, no.
But you're not perfect. Where
I've
do you
always
struggle?
said that. I struggle with seeing this much money in my bank account and wanting to spend it. So I've always wanted to live on a golf course. Always. Jesus, Donnie. And I was like, okay, golf course. If a house come up on the golf course, house come up on the lake, I'm gonna go get it. So there's we live on the Potomac River in Maryland. So
Who's we?
Me and my dog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Raven, that's my baby.
Okay, just clearing that up.
Yeah.
For everybody else.
But yeah, me and my dog, Raven, we live on a Potomac River, and we live in Maryland, and a lot came available on the Potomac River.
Okay.
That was already approved to have a deck. And it's not even 3 blocks away from my current house. I run over. I don't pray about it. I don't think about it. I run over, meet with my guy. We run over there. We call the people. They meet us there. The people already know who I am. They was like, yo, you won it? I was like, yes. I bought the land on the spot. Not really stepping back and assessing, because I was like, I got the money. So I bought the land, get approved for the mortgage. I meet with the builder who's going to build a custom home on there. When he looked at the land, Donnie, he was like, yeah, it'll be about 1.4. I was like, easy, run a play. Comes back, 2.8. Bank approves me. No questions asked. And I literally was like, I could afford it. One thing about me that I really do love about myself is that even with my shortcomings, I always run things by my mentors.
Okay.
Always. I won't even date seriously. I won't make a business move without talking to a mentor within that space.
Yeah.
And he said, Anthony, and my mentor is so real, Donnie. He says, man, you're 5'8". You weigh 180 pounds. Why do you need a 12,000 square foot home for you and a German Shepherd? He said, what in the are you thinking?
Yeah.
And I literally sat there and said, why did I not think about that? He was like, you already living in 6,000 square feet. That house is too big for you too. What you need more for? You need more electricity bills? He was like, bro, you're the money guy. And I was like, you're right. Sold the land, got out of it. So my biggest thing for me is even I struggle with, not really struggle, I wouldn't say that, but when something that I desire, because I want me and my wife to either live on water or live on a golf course and have a big, beautiful home, right? So when I see stuff like that, I get excited because I can buy it. And then when she comes into my life, we can just move things around. Say, hey, I got this for you. And I have to realize that that's not wise for me to do right now.
Yeah. But
it's not.
Okay.
I hear the but.
No, but my question, I have to ask because it almost sounds like your approach to money is holding on to it, maybe investing it right in certain places, but now not allowing yourself the freedom to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Like at what point do you recognize like, hey, I've worked hard, I've budgeted, I've met my goals, I've met my financial savings goals, my investment goals. Now I get to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Yeah. That's a good question, Donna Ashley. I enjoy my money a whole lot. But here's one thing I have learned about money is that money reveals who you really are. And so when you're broke, you don't have options.
Money reveals who you truly are.
Who you truly are. Because when you broke, you don't have options.
Ooh, that's good.
When you have money, more of what you really are on the inside tends to come out. So money started revealing, Donnie, who I truly was and what I truly value. First got my thing. I recently just started saying it. So you're the second person to say this to. Did you know me then, Donnie? You knew me when I was with Dave, but no, I don't think you knew me then.
I did.
No, not in the beginning.
No, not in the beginning.
Yeah, not in the beginning.
Closer to the end.
When I first met you, I think I was driving a Porsche, right?
You were.
Okay, yeah. So how did I get into the luxury cars? Let's talk
Okay.
about that. I'm driving my Acura 2011 TL. Pick up a beautiful young lady. She gets in. She says, "You're Anthony O'Neill. Why are you driving this?"
Lord Jesus. Now, that's a lot. I probably would have had to ask her to get out of the car.
I wanted to, but I was like, she was just too beautiful.
She's fine.
As
See,
heck.
that's your problem. It's not the $100 on the date. It's you're picking with the wrong pickers.
Listen, you can say that all day long. I don't know men in this world who do not want a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
You know, so she gets in, she's like, "You're Anthony O'Neill, you know, what you doing with this?" And I thought this, and the car didn't have AC. So I had the windows rolled down.
Okay, I feel her now. I understand her now.
So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? So we go to dinner. Didn't spend no more than $100 on that date.
Okay.
We went to Virago, actually, in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
And I think I spent like $78, $80 on dinner. Real dope. When I dropped her off, I went to the car dealership and I bought a car, a BMW. And I started noticing that I just started making these high six figures. I was living in a 1-bedroom, 1,200 square foot apartment. I went and built a custom from the ground up. I designed it, paid to have it designed, home, dropped money there. And I started noticing that, man, I'm putting my money into a lot of things that make me look better, but I wasn't putting things into things that made me better. And so for me, my relationship with money now is I enjoy, but I make sure that I invest it into making things that it makes me better. And so, I mean, I got the nice cars. I mean, I have the cars that people have.
What do you drive right now?
I have a Bentley Continental, and I have a truck, a real nice truck. But I just got it within the last 2 years. The reason being is because I said, if I'm going to spend over, $100,000+ on a car, I need to have at least 4 investment properties. If I'm going to buy me a real nice truck, I want to make sure that my nephews and niece already have an investment account in their name for me.
So it's okay to spend the money
Foundation.
on frivolous things of enjoyment as long as you have your infrastructure in place.
Absolutely.
Your family is taken care of. There's not anybody who's struggling for college tuition. You've got some assets that can cover this liability 4 times over.
Yeah.
That's the advice that you give.
Absolutely. But watch this, Donnie.
Okay.
I'm going a step further. My wife is going to know I loved her before I even met her.
My wife is going to know I loved her before I even met her.
Because I thought about her before I bought the Bentley.
Okay. How?
What you mean? I already have an investment account for her ring. I have an investment account for the money, for the wedding, and for the honeymoon. And if she comes in, we can maneuver things in the house because I was already thinking about her. Why? Because where your money is, that's where your heart is. If I'm saying I want to be married, I want to be a husband, but my money doesn't show that I want that.
So what's the ideal type of woman then who aligns with you spiritually and your beliefs around money? Because from what it sounds like and from what I know of you, you attract a certain type of woman, right?
Do I? Help me understand that, because I mean, it ain't working, Donna. So help me. What kind of woman is that? You know something I don't know.
You attract, from the stories I've heard you tell, you attract established women.
Absolutely.
Who are doing for themselves, who also have curated this lifestyle for themselves as well, right?
That's one set, yeah.
Yeah. And I've heard you tell stories even down to like lavish trips and vacations and all the things. Illustrate for me what this woman looks like. Who is this woman that is ideal for you?
Physically or just in general?
Just tell me about her.
I mean, if it's a perfect world, Donnie, she's saved first. I really want to mean that. Like I'm not looking for her to be like super spiritual running around the church. No, I just need her to love God and genuinely want a relationship with God for herself. She's sweet. That is sometimes difficult to come across the more established ladies. They're not as sweet.
Okay, cut it.
I said some. I didn't say all. You know, they're smart, which is definitely easy to come across. They are skilled. Oh my gosh, definitely easy to come across. And then the last one that I always go viral for, which just pisses me off, but I got to stick to who I am. She's also very sexual. And so I think for me, it's if I could find that woman who aligns with the vision of where I want to go. Because here's the truth, Donnie. I've met that woman several times, but we don't align on where I want to go in life.
Which is?
I want freedom. I want to be the number one giver in my church. I don't really care about material things, right? So if I meet a woman who's very heavy on material things, I'm like, yo, I have the nice things, but that's delayed a little bit. How can I give?
Anthony, but you're sending mixed signals.
How was that?
You're sitting in front of me with Louis Vuitton sneakers on.
Love it.
A very custom suit.
Love it.
Right? Very custom suit.
Very.
Presidential Rolex. Nails are manicured.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
What's that got to do with anything?
But then you tell me that you don't want a woman who's into the material things.
I said leading with the material things.
I mean, look at you.
I'm on a show. I did interviews before I came here. It has to be polished because I think one of the which I am guilty of this because of where I come from, but one of the images that is kind of misinterpreted about me is that because I don't believe in debt, that I want you to live a frugal, horrible, boring life.
And that's what I believe. Well, not horrible and boring.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I want you to delay your gratification so that you can build your foundation on a solid rock. Once you have that rock built, I don't care how you build your house moving forward.
Okay.
You know, so it's like for me, I live in a beautiful home. I have nice things like you said, but Don, I just got this stuff. I've been making this kind of money for like the last almost 8 years of my life, but I built something, shout out to Earn Your Leisure, assets, right? So I have assets, but I didn't buy a whole bunch of liabilities and have zero assets.
Yeah.
So my goal is by 45, I'm 40. By 45, I am moving out of the country with my wife. We're going to live out of the country for 1 year. We don't have to worry about nothing. If she got kids, whatever the situation is, home we be taken care of. But I want to expose my wife and myself to something different. So I'm positioning myself to where I can do that at 45. So I'm not saying do not have the nice things. The Louis Vuitton stuff, I love. This is my first pair of Louis Vuitton shoes, and they're so dope.
We were just talking about that.
You got your Louis Vuitton, heels on.
Easy on what I got on right now.
Because she coming for me. We can talk about her watch. She can talk about, you know what I'm saying, the jeans she got on, you know.
I am not the person who is telling people to cap their spending. Now, so when have
I ever said cap your spending though, Donnie? When have you ever seen me on a show say cap your spending?
You haven't said cap your spending, but you do say things like you're a fool if you spend more than $100 on a date. You've said that.
I have said it.
Let me tell you. Yes. Look at you.
I have.
Let me tell you. So when I first started hearing, you and I have differences when it comes to money, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, and not even money, but financial practices.
Yeah.
Anthony says no credit cards. I use my credit cards only. I don't pay cash for anything. I pay my credit cards back in cash because I value points and all these things. But when I think of you, I dated this guy many, many years ago, right? And I remember his mom visiting. And his mom and I were hanging out. And I'll never forget this. This is a true freaking story.
Lord Jesus.
Her husband paid for everything. She didn't, to the outside world, it looked like she didn't want for a thing, right? Her husband pays for everything. She takes me to Red Lobster. She's visiting. She takes me to Red Lobster. This is many years ago. She takes me to Red Lobster, and let's just say the bill came out to $53.90, right? The waitress brings the bill, and she pays the bill, and she gives the lady $54.
Okay.
She waited for 10 cents.
I would have too.
So we're preparing to leave this restaurant.
Uh-huh.
There's no tip. There's no nothing.
Oh.
She's literally standing outside the kitchen entrance like, hey, can you grab our waiter? And when she comes out, she's like, the bill was $53.90. I gave you $54. I was mortified. Do you hear me? And so
I get you.
when we went out to the car,
wow,
I told her that I needed to run in and use the bathroom before we pulled off.
And
I went in, I went out, I went back in and apologized, and I left a tip for the woman. And so when I got back to the car, I just asked her, I'm like, so you guys don't believe in tipping? And she's like, oh, are you supposed to tip? Like, they're supposed to bring you your food. When you're eating, they're supposed to bring you your food. How else are you to get it?
Yeah, no.
She was so out of tune with how you pay for things because she had not had to pick up a bill for anything for so long, right? It took us maybe 20 minutes to pull out of that parking lot because we had been places that day. She was taking all of the receipts of everything that she purchased to put in an envelope because she had to account for every single last dollar that she spent. I don't care if it was on a piece of 10-cent bubble gum. It had to be in that envelope to hand over to him. And she's telling me about it, and I just felt like it was a jail. I don't know that I desire a relationship. Like, I'm cool with us setting budgets and saying stay within this budget. I'm cool with reporting the type of expenses that we need to track, meaning was this a business expense? Was it a personal expense? What that looks like. But having to come home and at dinner with you, give you all my receipts and explain to you what these purchases are, that's just not a life I believe I desire to live. And when I think of you and the way you communicate about dating and managing your finances, I think of you being that husband that's like, I saw you took $27.30 out of the account today. Where are the receipts?
Dang.
You're that guy, aren't you?
Wow. You think so?
Are you?
No.
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 Is that extreme?
Because you wouldn't spend money out of the main account. No, I'm serious. I mean, my philosophy is this, right? It's like we have the main account. I won't touch that account. You won't touch that account. Donnie will have her own bank account. I don't care what you do with that account. I genuinely don't. I won't even look at your account. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, for me, I think I'm with you. I think that sounds a little bit too regimented. I think it sounds a little bit too controlling. It doesn't sound freeing. When I think of budgeting, it's free. When I went and bought this Rolex, man, it was free to do it because I knew that I had saved. I knew that I had the money there, and I'm not concerned about nothing else. When I take my lavish vacations, it's freeing because I know when I come back home, everything is taken care of. Now, I am very anal on my budget, though, and that I will always be that way.
Yeah.
But I'm anal on the last day of the month and only on that day of the month.
Yeah.
So it's like I count down to 10 cents.
Yeah.
If my budget and my bank account doesn't align, I need to find out where that money is. And here's why. It's the spiritual side of me. It's not my money. So I have to steward this money well. Yeah. And I can't ask God to give me $1 million if I can't steward 100,000. And so I'm always like, God, you're going to know you can trust me because I can tell you where every penny is, but I'm not going to be like, yo, Donnie.
Yeah.
You just spent $10.32.
Yeah.
Where that money at? Like that's not freeing and that's not fun.
Yeah.
And let's just be real. That ain't sexy. You ain't giving me none that night.
Sexy.
If I'm asking you about $10.32,
if I lost that $3.87 receipt, that $3.87 receipt, and you're giving me grief over it,
no.
You're getting none for this is done. It's done. You know what? What's interesting is I used to be a cash only queen. That's how I used to refer to myself. Like, I'm the cash only queen. If I can't buy it in cash, I don't need it. Right. You say that a lot, right?
That is me, though.
Yeah, you say that a lot. I was the cash only queen, but you know why I was that way? Because I had terrible credit. Because I went to college and I messed my credit up very early. I didn't know. We didn't have the information available to us and floating through our community the way that we do now to understand how to get your credit back on track. Okay. So in my mind, I was just sitting out the 7 years of poor financial decisions, right? Poor credit management. And then once I finally got to the point where I was able to buy a house, and although when the recession happened and I lost everything, now I have foreclosures and repossessions. And so now I'm like, I don't know, maybe 27 years old or so. And I'm losing everything again. I had to file bankruptcy. And so I'm back to cash queen. But really, it was because I couldn't get credit if I wanted it. Do you know what changed my mind?
What changed mine?
So first, I had a friend who helped me get my credit together, but I was still afraid to use it. Like once I saw that credit score come in above 700, I swear I logged into the app every day, like, look at my credit. Oh my God. It had never been that before, right? When I went to buy this Rolex, Dave, I didn't even want the watch. I was just able to afford the watch. And David convinced me I needed a Rolex, right? I didn't even wear a watch. I hardly wear this one. David convinced me I needed a Rolex. I'll never forget, we were in our old building. He was about to shoot a podcast episode. I'm like, I'm going to the bank. I'm getting out the $25,000. I'm doing this, that, and the. They gave me the envelope, the leather envelope. This is 2021. They gave me the leather envelope with the $25,000 in it. I peeked my head back in the studio. I'm like, I got the money. So we leave. We go to the Rolex store. I'm just, nope, not that one. Nah, not that one either. I finally picked this watch, and the lady tells me my total, and I took he's recording this. I take the cash out and fan it on the on the display shelf, right? Here's the money that you're looking for. And now they're coming out. You know, Rolex is going to white glove the treatment. David says, before they check me out, he said, put it on my American Express. He tells the lady, put it on my American Express. And I'll take the cash. I didn't care. I don't know anything different. A few months later, we are sitting in our circle and we're talking about whatever, and we're talking about going on a mastermind trip. And everybody starts logging into their phone like, oh yeah, I got points for this. I can take a trip. Where are we going? Meanwhile, I just got cash for it. And so I thought back to, oh, that's why he wanted it on his American Express. I didn't know it. The kind of credit cards I was used to, like Credit One Bank, you didn't get points.
Facts.
All right.
Facts.
So that was the shift for me that said, maybe credit isn't a bad thing. It's just my ability or inability to manage it.
I totally 110% agree with you. So
then do you have a credit card?
Anthony no does not. And here's why. 97% of the people in America can't do what David Shands did. Look at what David did. He had the $25,000. He paid it off. He didn't pay any interest. He didn't carry any debt.
True.
97% of the people in America, there's a proven study shows that when you have a credit card, the majority of people are going to spend more than what they were originally going to spend. They're going to say, I'm going to pay it off before the debt hits, the interest hits, and they do not. Now the banks is making money. Now they're paying 22% on stuff. So I want to be the example. I don't even hate that David does that. I don't care that you do that. But I do believe we need to show people that credit is not necessary, is not a must-have to win financially.
Is it not just free incentives though? Like because we've learned what we've learned, and now the credit cards are paid off before interest hits. The cashback rewards that I get, it's like I got my stuff plus an incentive. I got my stuff plus a free hotel night. It's just free money to me. I
don't dispute nothing that these people say about that. But the problem is people are not mature enough to understand and to actually do it. And I want to be an example that you don't have to do it. If you're not mature enough, you can live my lifestyle and have everything that they have. I would rather you miss out on points than you drowning in $100,000 in debt. I'd rather you miss out on a hotel room night than you miss out on debt. I've never sat down with any of my true millionaire points and said they built their wealth off of points. Now they all say, man, it's pretty cool that I get to take a free trip. But I don't think that a mature person would tell a person in America who's living paycheck to paycheck to go put their mortgage or to put their whatever on a credit card just to get the free points if they're not mature enough to have it. And like everyone says, right? Well, you get the points, credit score is high. I got an 800 credit score, but I only have real estate on there, right? So I have the score, but I just, I don't really care for a score, Donna, because it doesn't, I know people who got an 800 credit score, but don't have $800 in their savings account. So I'm not impressed by someone who's telling me they got a high credit score.
Yeah.
I'm impressed by what's your financial IQ like you. Hey, what are you doing? What are you building? What is what is that vision? I'm impressed by that.
Yeah.
But I'm not impressed that you got 800 credit score and you got 500,000 points.
Yeah.
That doesn't impress me, but I'm not knocking that. I want you to keep with that because I know Donnie, and I know Donnie is mature in that area. But I think the world needs other examples.
Yeah. And
so I want to be the example on the opposite side that you can have the nice things and pay cash. Here's the downfall. I tell everyone with me. It's delayed though. I'm not going to be able to move as quick as Donnie. I cash flow my stuff. So when I bought my Bentley, I paid for it cash. I did just like you for the Rolex.
Did you fan it on the display?
No, I went and got a duffel bag and put little things in the thing, and they couldn't give me that kind of money cash because, you know, taxes and the IRS would have been all on me. So they gave me a money order with $10,000 cash, and I went and put like newspapers inside the duffel bag, and I carried the duffel bag in.
Way.
And I was like 50 Cent on what's it called? I was like, hey, bro, I'm ready. You know what I mean?
It's my time.
It's my time.
It's my time.
And for me, I was like, I wanted to be an example. I had that Bentley way long before I put it out there. And it was actually Pastor Darius Daniels and some other friends and I, when we were all on vacation, who told me, you need to show the world that Anthony O'Neal has nice things because everyone believes you don't have nice things.
Listen, if I didn't know you in real life, I would think that you were burning candles for lighting in your home.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you put it out there like spending is bad. If you're not making a smart business choice and if everything doesn't add value, like to me, freedom also includes being able to make those frivolous decisions that don't add any value outside of this moment.
Wow.
And it may not be a wise decision, but I think what makes it an okay decision is that there is discipline in that area, right? So we're not having the $1,000 dinners. For example, years 2021 and 2022 were some really good years financially. Yes. You had were they as good for you as they were for me? Okay, they were really, really good, right?
Yeah.
And so then you would find us going to restaurants with 13, 15, 20 people, giving the waitress our credit cards and saying, oh, just pick one. We're going to play credit card roulette.
Wow.
Just pick one. And so they wouldn't let the ladies do it. So of course, you know, whatever. Right. But sometimes these guys could be coming out of pocket like $5,000 on a dinner or something. And it was fun. We're going on the internet. We're making content about it. 2023, you didn't see Russian credit card roulette anymore, right?
And you definitely ain't seeing it this year.
You didn't, and you're for sure not seeing Russian credit card roulette right now. And so I say that to say, if we, I had to get on David one time. We were out to eat with a group of people, and David is just so accustomed to paying for everything. And so we're out, we're traveling, we're in LA, we're at Ocean Prime. The tab is going to tab at Ocean Prime, right? And as soon as the check hits the table, he puts his credit card out, and we're not doing that. We're not, because I'm tired of seeing people walk all over you when it comes to just sitting back and chilling. All these people at this table got money. Everybody here has money, but everybody is also used to knowing that you will pay the bill. And I had to tell, we're all putting our cars in and taking care of this. And that's where the financial responsibility portion comes in. But if I did not know you, and if I didn't know you in real life personally, I would literally think that you're thrifting for all your clothes. Wow. Candlelight, and you probably do go in and turn the lights off in every room.
Still do to this day.
You're not in. Yeah, that would absolutely trigger me.
Actually, I don't turn them off automatically. I just have them on sensors and they turn off automatically.
If there's not motion detected in the room.
Yep.
So, and I understand now that you're doing this for what you believe to be ultimate financial freedom.
Yes.
Yeah. Sacrificing right now up front, live freely. I have a question for you. You understand, you have a clear picture of what financial freedom looks like to you. What does emotional freedom look like to you?
Emotional freedom. In what context? What do you mean?
So if you had to think about yourself not including money,
Okay.
and the way that you want to be loved, the way that you want to wake up and feel, what makes you happy, like those things that emotionally fill you back up. What does that look like?
Family. Peace. Golfing. Traveling. I love to travel. But I think when I think of emotions, what really, really, really runs me emotionally, I am at my healthiest place when my family is good. And when I say family, because I don't have my own wife and children, right? But you will know I'm down emotionally when if something's going on with my mom, my dad, my siblings, her family, my brother and his family. I am a family's man. And honestly, I get excited thinking about my own family. I think that's why I work so hard, because I get excited about that. But emotional freedom for me is when I don't have to worry about nothing, when I'm excited about what the future holds, and family is good, and my relationship with God is good.
Yeah.
That's me.
Do you have established core values?
Core values in my life. I'm working on those, Donna, because I just recently turned 40. And this year I said, hey, I want to change some things a little bit. And so my core values are shifting that I really can't say just yet because of where I'm at in my life. I thought by 40 I would be a little different.
What'd you think?
I thought I for sure I thought I was going to be married with at least a 15-year-old by now.
Okay.
You know, I thought I would have been building a business with a woman. I thought a lot of different things. And because of not because of the consequence, but because of the choices that I personally made, I'm not there yet. And so I'm shifting. I'm shifting in certain things. And my values are shifting. My mission is even shifting a little bit in life. So I'm working on that.
Yeah. Not ready to share?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Because, once you say it, you got to stick to it.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw the conversation that I had with Lateris.
Yes, I did.
From Dear Future Wifey. And we were talking about what we look for in a significant other. And he expected that I had this like super superficial list of he got to be 6'5" with a 6-pack and, all these things. And I shared with him that my list is really based on my core values, right? How I have core values.
Okay.
I don't share them all, right? But things that are very, very important to me are things like integrity, honor and trust, consideration. Those are at the top 3 of everything that I stand for in business, in friendship, and in relationship. And so I'm always interested to know if I usually find that people are unclear about the type of man or woman they desire when they don't have established core values.
Facts. I agree with that.
We're basing the desires, we're making decisions in our lives, not just relationships, in our business and how we move spiritually, in all areas when you don't have established core values. So for me, I say, well, is this going to allow me to stay in integrity?
You got to date someone with integrity.
Well, and not even just in dating.
In life.
In anything. I am offered business opportunities all the time. David and I, a couple of years ago, were offered the opportunity to partner with OnlyFans. And it wasn't for what you think. They have OnlyFans was apparently created for creators to be able to monetize their platform. It turned into what it is today over time, but they wanted to bring it back and like showcase entrepreneurs and creatives and have like something available, I believe, on Roku TV where they were doing segments of people like us. And it sounded really interesting. Like, wow, they have a huge platform. Facts. But the more and more I slept on it, I'm like, yeah. Even though your intent wasn't to be known for what it is today, you're still known. So that's something that spiritually it did not align. And from an integral standpoint, it doesn't align. What do you use to help you determine what opportunities to say yes to and what opportunities is a hard no?
Yeah, so I'm always going back to, for me, character, integrity, morals, spiritual. So everything that comes to me, whether it's business, whether it's relationships, whether it's friendships, Does it go against my character and integrity? And I'm even talking about behind closed doors, right? But then also morally and spiritually, like, does this align with what I stand for spiritually?
Yeah.
And I've had to turn some things down. I've lost friendships because behind closed doors, I've maintained character and integrity. Because the 20-year-old me, the early 30-year-old me, behind closed doors, I'm going to say whatever.
Yeah.
And then in public, I'm like, nah, I ain't say that. But behind closed doors, I did. And so now I lead with character and integrity, morally and spiritually. And spiritually is something that I added recently because I thought morals, it's the same thing as spiritual. And I think a lot of people think, well, morally, no. Morals is you. Spiritual is God. And so I've really been more so of like, okay, if I make this decision, will God be pleased with this decision over my life? And I've lost business deals because it just didn't align with God. I've lost business deals that I really wanted to do, but I just like, yeah, no, that doesn't align.
Can't do it.
And I'm like, dang, God, that's $100,000, man. He was like, yeah, I'm sorry. And those hurt.
Yeah.
Those hurt. But the return on that though goes back to the emotional side. I'm not losing sleep. Like I'm not battling internally. I'm like, yo, I said no. So if I said no, God got to take care of me.
Yeah.
And he has. Because what a lot of people don't know, and I got to say this correctly, for 3 years, I had to watch how I made money, if you understand what I'm saying.
I don't.
Well, we can talk about it offline. For 3 years, I had to watch how I made money. And I had to be creative on how I made money. I no longer have to be creative on how I make money.
Okay.
And so I had to figure out different ways and different avenues. Anthony O'Neill, the money guy, can make money creatively. And God covered me because I would say no to something that could have cut me a fat check. But because I said no to that, I feel as if God just opened up other doors. Saying all to say, going back to your question, I lead with those 4 things because I feel as if a man has to lead with it. And if I'm true to what God has called me to do, I'm going to be all right.
Yeah, for sure. We'll always be
hard.
all right when we stick to what our calling is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just alignment too, Donnie. It's like, I got to be aligned. I tell this to all of my staff that I hire. When I hire them and when we do their 1 year check-in, are we still aligned? Like, you work with me. You don't work for me. You work with me. With me means, does this company align with what you want to do in life? Because I know you're not going to be here forever. I don't want you here forever. I want you to help me grow. I want you to be here for the season God has you here, but are we aligned? And if they say no, Donnie, I help them move on. Because it's like, at the end of the day, that's what I have to do. That's a man of integrity, man of character. And I can't just have integrity and character when it only benefits me. A man of character and integrity also does that when it benefits someone else who he loves.
Anthony, you're so polished and you're so poised.
What you mean?
You say everything right. It just sounds.
You
so
haven't
good.
asked me nothing to say wrong.
I just feel like why are you single?
Oh, it's me all day
Why
long.
are you struggling in relationships? Like, are you really?
It's me
are
all
you
day
different offline?
Nah, for sure. I'm not. But it's like like I said, I haven't dated a bad woman. I just wasn't mature in the dating stages. I told you offline, I have not had a successful relationship, Donnie. You know, I mean, I have some insecurities too.
So then why would anybody want to date you today?
I mean, they want to date me.
I mean, but no. Do they want to date you or do they want to
Don't play me like that,
date
dude.
you? No. What I'm saying is, if you are saying, I've not had a successful relationship.
Facts.
It's definitely me.
Definitely.
There are insecurities that I struggle with.
Facts.
What makes you ideal?
That's up to you. That's up to the woman. What I've learned is I have to lead with the authentic Anthony O'Neill. Donnie, I've done it all to where I can play the role up front. I know how to send the flowers, take it to the United States, present this guy for 3 months. You ask me a question, what helps me be peaceful? And what I've learned is when I can be the authentic, flawed Anthony Bernard O'Neill And that woman likes that man, flaws and all, because I'm not going to put all my flaws out on full transparency.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put all my flaws out on the table with Anthony O'Neill. But when I'm dating, I will give her my flaws.
Yeah. That has to be hard, though. You're a public figure.
It's really
You're
hard.
known everywhere.
It's
so
really hard.
how do you, this is something that I really want to know. Give me some advice. How do you date exposing the core of who you are and not be worried about someone exposing the real Anthony O'Neill, that vulnerable side that you share with them? Do you make women sign NDAs?
I do date with NDAs, yes.
Okay.
I do. And the NDAs are not to do anything. It's just we're in certain rooms.
Mm-hmm.
We're in certain environments, and I'm around certain things, and business deals are talking. And so, yes, that is a conversation that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to protect my environment and my friends.
Mm-hmm.
But the NDAs are not for us per se dating, because I had my friend Sarah Jakes on the show one day, and I said, man, the hardest part for me dating is being honest and being vulnerable.
Yep.
Because vulnerability sometimes could be used as a weapon towards me.
Mm-hmm.
And so she said, Anthony, the only way you're going to find love is if you give them the opportunity to hurt you.
Mm.
And if you never give them the opportunity to hurt you, then yes, you're never going to be married. And that is one of the biggest downfalls about me is I've never really given a woman the true, deep, authentic Anthony O'Neill, because I'm scared that when she sees some of my insecurities, when she sees some of my flaws, when she sees the human side of me, that she would turn around and say, yeah, like I exposed something to a young lady of why. And I can say this publicly because it is what it is. We put it out there before. But my mom left my biological father in a way that I never thought my mom could leave my biological father. Mm-hmm. I didn't find out about that situation until I was like 2021, mm-hmm. right? And so from there, because of how she did that, anytime I got close to a woman, I would run. Mm. Well, I exposed this to the young lady who I was dating at the time, and I said something. She brought it back up. Here you go, letting your mama and your daddy situation, da-da-da-da. And she used that at me. And I'm like, yo, see, this is why I don't trust y'all. This is why I don't open up, because women say we want a space to be safe. We want a safe space to be vulnerable, but then you don't create that safe space for the man. And then when there is a disagreement or an argument, you want to pull up our insecurities, our flaws, and throw it back in our face. And so as a man, I'm going to go back in the corner and I'm going to defend Anthony O'Neill. And so instead of me snapping back at you, I'm a bounce. And that is one of the biggest flaws with me, is when I feel it's no longer safe, I am quick to run. And my mama called me out on that just the other day. She was like, Anthony, the next situation you get into, you run too fast and you can't. And that is Anthony O'Neill's fault, is that when I feel like it's not safe, I don't fight, I run. And that's something that I'm working through in therapy. That is something that I'm working through just internally. And I got to get there, because I got to give her the opportunity to hurt me.
Do you think you work through that before you start significantly dating someone else?
I mean, I think I can work on that as much as I can, but I can't until I'm actually dating someone seriously and I give her the opportunity to hurt. I haven't had a woman sign an NDA in a very long time. The only time I do that is when I know we're about to walk into an establishment with other big names and other business deals. Mm-hmm. But lately I've been like, you know what? Let me just flow. And Donnie, it's been working. Have I opened up tremendously just yet? Nah. But it's a lot with me. You're a public figure. Everyone has a private life. And I think in this generation, which I think is a very immature thing, when I see people put all their business on the internet. Mm-hmm. And so when people can say, well, Anthony's a hypocrite. No, I'm not. I'm just not putting my business on the internet. Yeah. That's not smart, because that's not a safe space for me to put my insecurities, my stuff, because people will take a clip, run that. Now I got to deal with that emotional stuff of seeing my name plastered all over the place because of something that I did, right? Even to this point, Donnie, I won't put my woman on social media until we marry. Period.
Really?
Period.
I think that's okay.
Period.
But I I think it's cool. So if you have a good reason for it.
Yeah, I want to build with my wife.
Yeah.
I don't want the world to give me an opinion on her or the world give her an opinion on me. Like, I want to build a solid foundation. And I want her to get to know me for me and me get to know for her. Like you said earlier, I will date more than likely someone and marry someone of substance, of value with a similar name. And so everyone has a history in the past, and I don't want people giving me my thoughts on her. And I have a past, and I want to be able to be honest with her, and we have an honest conversation.
Yeah. You also said earlier that you struggle with finding successful women. You're going to marry one, but you struggle with finding successful women that are sweet, which...
Hold on, wait. Because the ladies...
Which I think is a problem.
The ladies going to take this clip, and I did not say all. I said it is hard to find that in some.
No. What you said was there's not very many.
Can we rewind that and replay this on the show? Rewind that and play it. Go back to the clip of that when y'all edit that in.
What you said was there are not very many successful women who are also sweet.
Okay, then let me say this then. Because I gotta own what I said. If I said that, can I re-say it? Let me re-say
you can clean it up now because you don't want to go viral.
No. Let's go viral. You know what I'm saying? But if I said it, I gotta own it. Hey, it is what it is. The women who I've come across, it has been difficult to find a lot of them. The majority of them have been a little like, yo, I'm successful. I got this. I do what you do already. Cool with that. But like the sweetness of it, the softness of it. And I don't think that it's intentional, but it's just like when you are a woman building something, I think it is difficult for some of those ladies to turn it off when they're around a man. And some ladies will say, well, it's you. You didn't disarm her. And I'm like, yeah, no, turn it off. Because I'm like that. And when I come around my woman, I need to be able to turn certain things off and position myself for her as well.
I've learned not to talk business on dates.
For real?
Yeah. And it's hard for men to do.
It's not hard for me to do.
No, it's hard for men to do because you guys value what you bring to the table so much. And it's just like your badge of honor that you wear so proudly.
Donnie, maybe that's the men you've been with.
All right,
just saying,
cut the crap.
maybe that's the man you've been with because I'm telling you right now, I want to talk about, what's good? I don't like talking about work.
Okay, we're on a date.
Yeah.
It's so good to see you. Thank you for inviting me.
All right, what's up?
Yeah.
How you been?
I'm good.
How was your day?
It was good. It was stressful. I recorded like 2 podcast episodes today and was stuck in a lot of traffic. I don't drive though, so I was in the back of the car getting a lot of work done. And then, I had to rush after the traffic to come meet you, but I'm glad we're here.
That's good. Hey, check this out. So we got about an hour or two together, right?
Okay.
I already know who Donnie is.
Okay.
I see it every day.
Okay.
Love what you're doing. But who is Donnie? I know you're working. I know you're doing full transparency. You got social proof. You coaching. Donnie, I see that. You know what I'm saying? But when you say stress, how did that make you feel emotionally?
You know what, Anthony? Sometimes that's a good question. And I don't know if anybody has ever asked me how my stress makes me feel emotionally.
That's what I want to know because I think I would want someone to ask me that.
Well,
oh, we in character.
Stay in character.
Oh, okay. This is good. Are you done?
Yeah. Well, so I don't think I've ever had anybody ask me that question. In fact, I'm not sure I know how to answer it. Because the first thought that comes in my mind might scare you off.
Well, what's the first thought that comes in your mind?
Judgment free?
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, we know that Donnie is a public figure and you know those great things about me. But what people don't know is that I am eager to partner up with my lifelong partner and build something together. I can't wait for somebody to come in here and help me take some of this stress off my shoulders.
For real.
I don't believe that women were designed to work as hard as I work every single day for the purpose of providing for my family, right? There's a difference between working hard because you're just really living in your passion and your purpose. But if I don't work this hard, there are literally people whose quality of life will suffer. And so when you ask me how this stress makes me feel emotionally, the first thing that I can think of is I can't wait for help.
And when help comes, what does that look like to you? Because you said stress.
Mm-hmm.
I saw on your Instagram you have a beautiful daughter.
I do.
She's older though.
22.
So she's not living with you, but if I'm not mistaken, you have really helped her to establish her own life.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like she's doing good.
Yes.
Right? So in this season of your life, what other stress do you have? What other stress do you need help with? Are you talking about just as a woman in general, the stress of doing it all by yourself, or is there other things that is weighing you down that you just can't wait to put off to your partner?
So it's not that I want to necessarily put anything off to my partner, right? I would love someone that I'm not just planning. I would love someone that can help me plan for more than like a launch, more than like getting revenue this year. I want to plan for a life and for a legacy. And until you have your legacy partner, that's really difficult to do, right? I am the provider. I helped my mom retire in 2020.
I saw.
So I do provide for my mom, and that's something I volunteered for. It was very difficult for her to allow me to do it, but I felt like I needed to do that.
Okay.
I do also provide for my daughter because I feel like she just graduated college. And I feel like it's our responsibility to give our children a head start and not just throw them out into debt.
Dope.
So I am providing for her at this time. We are now moving and navigating through the space of allowing her to find her career. She works for me right now.
Dope.
But I want her to find, something that she's really passionate about. And I'm giving her the freedom to do that without a lot of stress. It's not necessarily, Anthony, the money and the financial obligations that I have. I just want to think bigger picture. And when you're the only person in your life that really thinks like I think, thinks like we think, it can become stressful figuring out not only how do I duplicate this in my lifetime year after year, but how do I make this work count for something after? Like, I'm just really tired of a lot of the thought work. I want to help you or whoever, I marry. What I do and what I'm called to do doesn't require that I'm this busy. I'm this busy because I have to be. I'm this busy because cost of living has gone up. I'm this busy because I live in Atlanta and I have to maintain a quality of life. I am this busy because I don't have a choice, but I would like a choice.
You're married 2 years from now. What does that life look like? What is the choice? Are you still launching? Are you still working as hard as you're working right now?
I think it becomes, I think it depends on.
Are you staying in Atlanta?
Am I staying in Atlanta? I would like to stay in Atlanta.
That's good.
Yeah, I like it here.
That's real good.
I would like to stay in Atlanta, but is it a deal breaker for me to have to relocate? Not necessarily. I've been in the same 10-mile radius of my mom all my life. So maybe that could be a challenge. Like, my mom isn't intrusive. We don't see, it's not like she's there and she would interfere in my relationship, but I would like to stay close to my mom. So even if I relocated, I would like to have the ability to relocate her too, to be somewhere nearby. Right. My daughter is going to live her life, and, and I encourage her to go wherever she wants to live that life. But 2 years from now, this is just one-sided because I think it requires a conversation with my partner. But ideally, I would like to be the operations mastermind behind whatever he has going on, right? I'm likely to marry an entrepreneur, someone who has incredible vision, and I'm an incredible visionary, so our visions must align. And I also pay great attention to the details, and from operational standpoint, I help businesses thrive. If I can do that for all of these entrepreneurs who are benefiting significantly and growing wildly from my consultation, I want to be able to do that in our household. So am I still working this hard? Maybe, but it probably is. It's framed a little differently. I don't desire to be a housewife. I have too much energy and ambition to just stay home, all day. but I don't want everything completely reliant upon me and my own thoughts and my own strategy. If that makes sense. Does that make sense to you?
No, it sounds like you're a rib. Sounds like you're a rib all day long. Sounds like you're ready for your partner. Sounds like you're ready to get connected back to him and for you to be the helpmate.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not average. And that's refreshing.
Mm.
And that's the Donnie I want to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Not the full transparency Donnie.
Yeah.
That's
I
good.
appreciate that. But how do you receive a woman like that? So does it matter? And remember, we're still in character.
We're still in character.
We're in character for about 5 more minutes.
Lord Jesus.
Does it matter? Does it scare you? Does it frighten you when you hear everything that I'm responsible for? Because if I'm being honest, sometimes my overhead frightens me in terms of how I present that to a man.
For real.
Because oftentimes the type of man that I date wants to know, well, what's your overhead? Because that man is a provider and he wants to know.
Pause. Out of character. You just said that when you tell your man your overhead, he gets scared?
I've never really told anybody that I would date seriously my overhead. I get scared.
Oh, you get scared to tell him.
Because many men are thinking, I see where she lives. Okay, maybe $5,000 a month, a little something, buy her a car. That's not my reality.
Yeah, Donnie. I mean, I think I would definitely want to know your overhead. I would definitely want to know my wife's overhead because I think that is an important part of marriage. I don't think finances and just life, your expectations, your stress. One thing I would are we out of character, right?
We can be.
Okay. I just want to make sure because I can go back into character and flip that all day long.
I wanted to be on character, but I was trying to show people what it looks like to be successful with 2 successful people.
But if you paid attention, I listened to you and I gave you the space to talk about Donnie. And I think men, without saying this in an advice way, one thing I've learned from my elders who are speaking into my life, because you're right, I want to be honest because you said I'm polished. I did lead with my success. My success all day long. My name is Anthony O'Neill. I did this, I did that. I'm over here. I'm running the plate. Girl, I ain't got no debt. I did that.
Yeah.
It didn't get me nowhere because I led with my success. I didn't lead with who is Anthony O'Neill at the core. Y'all ladies are smart. Y'all can pick up on this is a successful man. Y'all wouldn't give me a shot if you thought I was not of some status, of some quality. I think when we go on a date, y'all want to know, I want to know more about you. You want to know more about me that the world doesn't see. And so while you were talking, if that was our scenario, right, I'm listening to you. Donnie is winning, but internally the little girl in Donnie is like, I'm a little tired because I wasn't created to do all this by myself. So now I'm trying to think about, okay, what all is that? And watch this. It's a real question that every man has to ask. Am I willing to be that for her?
Yes.
Am I in a position to be what she needs? And I need to get to that quicker than later. So this way I'm not wasting her time, right? So believe it or not, you already told me your overhead without actually putting a number on it. You take care of your mama. You take care of your daughter. Donnie, you ain't cheap. We see that.
This is fact.
You have a podcast. You have a whole business. You literally said, I got to plan a launch. So as a smart man would be like, a launch? Wait a minute. That's not just get up one day and do a Zoom. No, that's marketing strategy. That's building funnels. That is a whole business. That's an overhead. Okay, cool, great. And she said that she wants to help. The key thing that you said, Donnie, that I don't see how no man would get fearful of this. What I heard you say is, I'm not going to drop who Donnie is, but I want to take the gifts, the talents, and the skills that God has put on the inside of me. If I can build everyone else's business, I want to build ours.
Yep.
And if ours gets there, I can let what I was doing dial down a little bit because why work for them when I can work for us?
That's 100% the case.
So then your overhead is nothing. Because if I already have a business, and then you bring your gifts and your skills and your talents over here to me, and you triple that,
Mm-hmm.
The overhead is taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the same time too, we just got to get past, like, do I want to deal with Donnie? Does Donnie want to deal with me? And I think that will be the question I think everyone has to ask too. And I'll be honest, the only reason why I'm single, because I skipped over that. If you were beautiful, I just allowed your beauty to leave me. And now I didn't really look for substance. I didn't really look for, are we aligned? Is there a vision that we align on?
Yeah.
And if you look at the questions that I was asking alignment questions.
Mm-hmm.
I already see you're successful. And I think, I'm going to shut up because I don't like giving relationship advice.
Can you just tell me what you were going to say just now?
I think men need to do better at that.
Real quick. For the ladies, like, I know you got something from this role play, but I gotta throw it at you real quick.
What's that?
Let's take 3 minutes. I need to. Okay, so we're here, and
we're back in action.
You look nice. You smell good too. What are you wearing?
It's a little bit of that Creed, special Creed.
Is it the Adventus?
Nah, I don't do Adventus.
Because
Everybody
that's the
Adventus.
One that means you're not serious about anything. There's literally a meme on Instagram right now that says, if your man wears one of these 5, and Creed Adventus is one of them.
No. This one's the new one. I forgot the name of it, but it's in a red bottle. And most men won't get it because it has a little bit of a pinkish bottle look.
It smells good.
Thank you.
It smells really good.
Well, I mean, I sprayed it on because, I want you to smell it.
Yeah. So, Anthony, you invited me here. The place is beautiful. We've had several conversations on the phone. And while we have this hour or two together, I really just kind of want to get deeper into, what you're looking for, what you're available for. You're very mysterious on the phone.
Why you say that?
Well, because you don't go deep when I ask you questions. You continue to say, like, we talk about it when we see each other, and here we are.
We're here. There's one question on the phone you want to go deep on.
Do you believe you are emotionally available?
Emotionally available? That's a good question, Donnie. Today, yes. If you was to ask me this maybe about 2-3 years ago, nah.
Okay. Yeah.
I really wasn't.
And I know that this is very premature, right? This is our first date, but we have spent a few weeks talking on the phone.
Dope.
And there's a vibe. Would you agree?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been here if it wasn't.
Okay. So with that said, I really want to make sure that we're always on the same page. I think that's fair. And just based on the vibe that I got from you on the phone these past few weeks, and now the energy that we're feeling here, I want to make sure, like, my heart would be safe becoming emotionally attached to you. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think your heart is definitely safe, but I would definitely tell you to take your time. Because one thing I do know is that time answers pretty much everything. And I'm willing to put in the work to show you that your heart is safe. And just follow my lead too. Because I understand if you're going to put something out there on the table, I need to put something out there too.
Yeah.
And let's start with that.
Yeah.
The reason why I didn't open up on the phone is because I just believe in energy and spirits.
Yes.
And I just wanted to see, in person, is the energy the same? And I used to rush into things. You're beautiful all day. I'll get excited. I'll dive straight in. But then diving straight in is just not. That one came off wrong. I'm talking about I would dive, pause, let's bring the clarity to that. But pause for me, which is the truth. I would meet a beautiful woman and I would dive straight in. I'll go all in. I'll start buying things. I'll start talking about love you. I'm diving all the way in. And that was one of my biggest things that I had to learn through therapy, to date with intention.
Are you still in character?
Are we back in character? I don't know. Are we going in and out? What are we doing?
In character.
Are we in character? So one thing about me that I've learned is in therapy, and I want to be honest about that with you, that I see a therapist.
I think that's healthy.
I have a spiritual mentor that I talk to. And I want to be honest with you, I'm not rushing, but I am dating for intentionality.
Yeah.
Because a hard part of me in the past was, if I found you beautiful, I just dove straight in. I would go hard. I'm paying bills. I'm doing that. And that wasn't healthy for me.
Yeah.
And so I just want to get to know you. It's why I asked you about who you are, where you're going. And I want the same from you.
Yeah.
Get to know Anthony O'Neill.
Yeah.
And that's something that means a lot to me.
You mentioned energy earlier, right? And that's the reason that I just want to clarify the question about the emotional vulnerability and safety. Because yes, I think we both know that time is important and taking your time is important. But we also know that energy creates the direction and also oftentimes sets the pace. And for some people, it could be 1 year. For some people, it could be 1 month. And I just want you to know that I don't get out often. I don't give a lot of people time. I carve out time for the person or two that I'm interested in. And I want to feel good about carving out this time for you.
Do you want to carve it out just for me?
Well, that's to be determined. But again, the time that I carve out is still very limited. And you are for sure a person. We're here. I carved out this time.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that time too. You know, because you could be anywhere else. And the fact that you're here with me, having a mocktail, because you don't drink cocktails. I'm drinking cocktails.
I definitely drink cocktails. Can you get our waitress?
You know what I'm saying? But I do value that time. And no matter where this goes, I want to say up front, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Seriously. Because you're a special woman. You have a lot going on in your life, like you just explained. And so, man, let's go ahead and get that cocktail and let's really get this conversation going.
I think somebody's over there taking a video of us right now. Like, don't look right now. They're over your shoulder.
Well, that's good. I'm not looking back. You got it. Just smile.
And with that said, you guys,
right. Yep.
This is how you date. Or maybe it's not. Y'all give us some feedback. Maybe that's why we're both single. Maybe we are. Here, what you think, Zell? You're the married one in the room. Did we do good? We did good?
Man. Yeah, we did good. I think for sure I wanted to get to know, and that's something I'm being intentional about now, is like, I'm going to get to know the woman.
Yeah.
And I think some women are scared to really say what they're feeling internally. And I think that's important for me to listen and not respond. Ask more questions and ask more questions. And I honestly don't like talking about me on the first date. But I do think I have to start talking about me because I just want to be intentional about making sure that she knows she has a safe space around me. But again, who am I? I'm still single.
But then also on first dates, we got to keep it light. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean?
That's why I say get the cocktails and let's have some fun.
Let's get the cocktails. Get a couple jalapeno martinis in my system.
Listen.
The conversation has gotten heavy, right?
But I do want to go back, Donnie. You said that men cannot talk about their careers and their success. And I think men can. And I really do believe, Donnie, that we want to talk about stuff outside of that. And I get excited about when I can talk about family and things that make me excited.
What's the one thing? Give me, as we're about to wrap up here in just a minute, what's something that is like the silly thing so I'll give you an example. I break out in the most random dance, no matter where I am. I don't go to the club anymore, but I could be in the club or I could be at the governor's ball. I could be on a date and we're on an elevator waiting for the elevator to go up and I just break out like, it's the silly thing that I do. And people are always like, yo, why are you always, it's like a beat is always in my head. That's the silly thing that people would be like, if your community knew how silly you are, they'd be surprised because everybody thinks I'm so serious. Facts. What's your thing?
Man, I am a singer. And a lot of people don't. I'll just break out and start singing in the middle of nowhere, singing and dancing like you. I could just break out in a little whole Carlton Pearson dance from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yep.
I will do the MC Hammer step back in the days.
Not the too legit to quit.
Too legit to quit. But then also, I'll just break out in a good thinking I am Casey and JoJo.
Ooh, yeah.
Singing. Exactly. That's just me. And it's like, I don't get that. There's this thing in my family. My mom and dad would say this about me all day. When I go home, I am the most silliest. I am the funnest person in the room because that is the safest space I've ever been. I could say whatever around my family. I can do whatever. They know when Anthony comes home, he is going to be hilarious. He's going to say things that we've never heard on the table, that you won't see on the news stations, that you did not see on Full Transparency with Donnie, because I'm home and I'm safe and I can be me. And I'm not going to be judged. I can hit the whatever and they're going to look at me.
Give me one of the songs you break out into.
Man, see, Donnie, you trying to get me judged,
Give me
Donnie.
one of the songs you break out into.
Man, I mean, I'm going to break out with that.
What is it?
Oh, man, I'm trying to think. Man, which one do I want to put out there for the world to know?
I want to hear it. Let's
gosh.
karaoke this thing with Anthony O'Neal.
Man, I'm a silk guy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, let's hear it. Which one?
Nah, Donnie.
Let's hear
We
it.
about
Which
to
one?
wrap it up the show.
No, which silk one is it? I need to know.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Casey and JoJo. Get on up.
Get out of here. Get out of here. All right, as we wrap this thing up, because he's scared, I was going to duet with you a little bit, and then you over here talking about,
Get on up with, hey, that's Casey and JoJo. You got to get on up. That's my jam.
Get on up now. That's all I know. That's
keep going.
Get on up.
Yep.
Gotta get on up now.
She missing some parts.
I don't know the parts.
That's what I'm saying.
You supposed to be.
I forgot the lyrics
As
too.
we're moving into this new season.
I'm still thinking about that silk.
Which one is it? Do this.
Huh?
Do this.
Do this right here?
And tell me. What silk song is it? Hold on.
Oh my God.
Anthony, because you gonna sing a song.
I'll sing a song afterwards.
Silk songs.
Watch in the comment section. Oh, he talking about.
I know what it is. Okay, it could be 2. Oh, it could be 3.
Which one?
There's a meeting in my bedroom. It's not that one?
No,
Okay, it could be.
It was that one.
It was that one? Because it could have also been.
That's in the 90s.
That was 1999. It could have been.
90s baby.
Freak Me, Baby.
No, it wasn't that one.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that one?
It's the meeting in my bedroom, man. When I was out there in the streets and when I played that song, they knew what time it was.
Let me hear what part you like to sing.
That's that part right there. Yo, Dottie, you are. No, it wasn't it.
That ain't it.
No, it wasn't it, man.
All right,
There's a meeting in my bedroom. Then Genuine. I'll break out into Genuine. I mean, I'm a
Them
90s.
jeans or Pony?
Nah, Pony.
Pony. How's that one go?
I don't know.
You get on my You got it, Sal.
Don't he live in Atlanta?
I don't know if he lives in Atlanta.
I thought Genuine did.
I know
live in
he
Atlanta.
used to when he was married, but I don't know if he lives in Atlanta.
Yeah. So that's me. Like when I'm home.
So here's what I got from Anthony just now.
What's that?
He's scared.
Nah, I'm just.
No, you're scared.
I like my privacy.
I just, but you put the songs out there. You could have given me a 1-2 on a lyric.
I could have.
Can you? How does Jeans go?
I don't know.
Or Pony. It was Pony.
I don't know how Pony goes.
All right.
What is Pony?
That's why you single. Because you be capping the whole time.
Hey, man.
That's
listen.
why I got it now. I got it. You put it out there and then you let me go there. I'm singing the songs and now you don't know what it is.
I don't.
All right. All right. Anthony O'Neal, as we are moving into this next season with you, I've had fun with you.
No, this was very fun.
But as we're moving into this next season, as you're moving into your next season, what problems are you working to solve in your life, in your business, going into your next season?
Yeah, so just recently, actually, I just announced this. Actually, yesterday, the first person I ever said this on the podcast. I felt everyone calls me this expert, and I didn't finish my degree. A lot of people don't know that. And so I was like, man, I really want to take my business to the next level, and I want to I want to get there. I just really felt convicted to get the degree. So I'm back in school to finish my MDiv.
Let's go.
And I'll be Dr. Anthony O'Neill by 45. And I wanted to make sure that as I'm building this huge platform that I'm stewarding the people well. And so I felt like I know a lot, but I can go deeper. So I'm going back to school to get that, to get my financial certificate as well, to make sure what I'm teaching actually comes with authority behind it, not just influence. And so that is something that I'm working on, is getting that education to make sure that I am solid there. And while I'm doing that, it's going to grow me as a man, to make me a better man, to make me a better leader for, whomever God chooses for me or chooses for me. And then 3, I got to hire more people, Donnie. My company, we're growing so fast that I'm not hiring people because I'm scared to bring people into my world, because those people are a part of the vision, and I am overstretched with my team right now. I'm feeling that stress, so I'm trying to work on hiring more people to take stress off of them, because I want them to leave working with me not stressed.
Yeah.
And so that is something that we're working on going into 2025 and hire more people. But it really starts with me, and I gotta get better. So
you gotta get better. Scared to hire is the same thing as scared to grow.
That's the business coaching you.
That's the business coaching me.
I thought you said we weren't talking about that.
Let me help you with that. That's what I do.
How much you gonna charge me, Donnie?
Every single day. We'll talk about that offline.
No, Donnie. No, let's go. No. She wanted me to sing online. You wanted me to sing online.
But you didn't, though.
But how much you gonna charge me?
Are you gonna sing the song?
You gonna tell me how much you gonna charge me?
If you sing the song.
Oh, well, let's talk about it offline.
We will talk about it offline. Anthony O'Neill, thank you so much for being here. Can you close us out with some refreshing words from yourself, but also some advice that you would give to our audience is primarily entrepreneurs who are looking here to see something that relates to them outside of the growth of the business, right?
Yeah.
But I would love for you to close out and speak to any advice that you would give entrepreneurs who are on their journey in terms of their spirituality and maybe even their finances.
Yeah.
Some advice that you wish you heard very early on in your journey.
Yeah. One of our mutual friends, one of my closest friends, Darius Daniels, taught me something a while ago. He said, the caliber of your future will be determined by the choices you make today. And I kind of remixed that from a financial perspective. And I said, the caliber of your financial future will be determined by the financial choices you made today. I added just the word financial into it, and this is really improved my life to where I actually make better decisions with my money today with tomorrow in mind, not with only today. So it comes down to business. It comes down to your personal life. If you want to be wealthy at 55, 60 years old, you got to make wealthy decisions today. And I think business people, we only think for today. We only think for gratification today, but we don't think about, okay, if I make this decision, how will it impact my future spouse, my future family, my future grandchildren? And every decision that I make today in this season of my life, I'm always thinking about her, them, and whomever else God is asking me to bless down the road. So that'll be one thing I will leave for your community. Think about tomorrow. And then also, too, I ain't trying to get spiritual, but it's just who I am. Where there is no vision, that's where people perish. And I think if you aim at nothing, you will hit that all the time.
Every time.
But if you have a target, you may not hit the target, but you'll get close.
Yes.
And so for me, just have the vision, aim at that vision, and just let God do the rest.
It has been so much fun having you here.
Outside of me singing.
outside of you singing, it has been a pleasure to have you here and letting your hair down.
I did.
Don't think we didn't notice that your hairline is fully intact. At 40, I mean, it's something to be proud of.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It for sure
The
is.
video guy is shaking his head too, like, yeah. Your video guy, like, yeah, I see that.
If he take that hat off, you can tell he just had a baby.
my man said, yo, his hairline, right. Hey,
your hairline is fully intact. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at it, and I love that for you. I love that for you. I love the direction that you're going in your life. I do not doubt that you will have the business of your wildest dreams.
Amen.
The woman in the marriage of your wildest dreams. The family of your wildest dreams, and the freedom that you haven't even imagined yet. What you visualize for yourself for freedom is just small potatoes. There's something in store for you that you can't even see yet because you hadn't gotten close enough to accessing something similar to it. I think what you've done and what you're continuing to do is outstanding. Though we disagree often in the areas of finances, I do believe that you are doing a great thing.
Donnie, we don't disagree that often, Donnie.
We disagree often.
Not on the areas of finances. I was out of 100, out of scale 1 to 10, I think maybe about like 60.
See how you cut me off while I was edifying you, though?
Yeah.
I'm, because I just want you to know that I got your back.
You got my back?
I support you. I
appreciate it.
Period. And I think that what you're doing is outstanding. Keep doing what you're doing. No, seriously, Anthony, your voice is empowering. Your voice is important, and the community needs you. We need you.
I need you too.
We need you.
I need you
and we got you, baby, right here on Full Transparency, you guys.
Go.
Right here. So, as usual, comment in the comments below what part of this episode stood out the most for you. We got a little crazy in the episode, but I think there's value in it for everybody, and you'll find something here that you absolutely resonate with. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and I will see you next week.